Hello, it is IARESMART, with a very important announcement. Alright, so guys, I know I don't normally make videos on Friday, but I just got some information and I think it's really interesting. I think you guys will want to hear it. So as you can see in the title, a new Star Wars game is coming out, okay? It hasn't been officially revealed yet I have a ton of new details to share with you. Now, this game hasn't been released yet, like I said, but it should be coming out in the next couple years. And I got this information from a very reputable news source. He's more of a leaker, you know, he kind of like leaker. I don't know if that's the right term to call him, but he leaks all sorts of information about new games that are coming out. And you may be thinking, like, okay, is this just some random guy? Now, he has asked me to help keep him anonymous. He likes to stay anonymous, and I get that. You know, I'm kind of anonymous myself too. I don't show my face and all that, so I get where he's coming from. But he is fairly reputable. He in the past told me about all sorts of other things. He said that the new Lego Star Wars wouldn't have the character creator, which was just officially revealed. So he has gotten things right in the past. So he is, you can trust this guy. He's not like just, making this all up. So I have it all here, this information he sent to me. Let's see where it is. Okay, so I got it all right here, right? So this new Star Wars game, yeah, it's basically going to be made by Bethesda Game Studios, which is really exciting. The creators of Fallout and Skyrim, very popular games and all sorts of things. It's specifically Bethesda Game Studios because there's Bethesda, publishing, but there's Game Studios which actually produces like the Fallout 4, Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim for Alexa, Skyrim for Samsung Smart Fridge. All of those amazing games, that they've all made over there at Bethesda Game Studios, and actually being led by Todd Howard. He himself is personally overseeing the production of this game. They may be thinking, wait a minute, IARESMART, I thought Bethesda, are they making Star Wars games now? Actually, yes. You may remember a while ago it was announced that Bethesda is partnered with Lucasfilm Games to make this new Indiana Jones game. So we already know that they're working together, but this new Star Wars game is a relatively new idea. It's something they've only come up with recently. So that's where this leaker got this information. It was an announcement at Bethesda. It just hasn't gone public yet. So that's where we're getting this from. So interestingly enough, right, that this is where it's coming from. And let me just, there we go. Okay. So, it's interesting because what we say here is we actually have a quote from Todd Howard that he said at this company meeting where he said, quote, "Screw Fallout 5, it's Star Wars time." So it seems they're very excited over there. They're kind of like pushing off some other projects they've been working on to focus on this Star Wars game because they're really excited. They said they wanted to work on a Star Wars game for a long time, and this is finally their chance. So Starfield is still going to come out in November, hopefully, but they're now working on this. And then Elder Scrolls 6, it's going to come out whenever. We don't even know. So anyway, yeah. Now, the thing is, this game doesn't have a title yet. They're in pretty early work on it. So far, it's more just, in the developmental stage. But there's still some solid details that they have locked down of stuff they want to do with this game. So, for example, they want to take inspiration from Star Wars Visions. You may remember, this is the limited anime series they released on Disney+. Yeah, so they're taking a lot of inspiration from this series, and that's going to drive the game's art style. It's going to be in this anime art style, which is really interesting for a Star Wars game. There can be, all sorts of possibilities that they can do with that. So we're taking from the more like realism, approach from something like Jedi Fallen Order and all those other games we've gotten to something more anime styled, which can be really interesting, especially for those sort of fans. I'm not personally really big into it, but I think some other people will really appreciate it. So it's interesting. And specifically, they said they took a lot of inspiration from Episode 8, the Lop and Ocho episode. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, guys, but that's the episode. Remember it had this character Lop, who's like a bunny species. I don't know exactly what species she is, but she's kind of like a, I don't really know what to call her, but she's a bunny person, anamorphic, that sort of thing, which is kind of like an animal, but like acts like a human. Anyway, yeah, so she's a big character in this. And yeah, so that's where they said they're kind of getting the inspiration. It's kind of taken from that episode where, you have like the Empire showing up and then like, you have this bunny girl on this planet and stuff. It's that sort of thing. If you've seen the episode, you know what I mean. So yeah, it's very interesting that they're going in this direction. Todd Howard says he's personally a really big fan of Star Wars Visions and just anime in general. So he's really excited for that sort of thing. And he actually was the one who brought up that idea of making it anime. Personally, it was his idea. So yeah, it's said that the game will have kind of similar like story sort of gameplay to Jedi Fallen Order. You can kind of compare it to that, where you go from mission to mission, all over the place, and it's kind of like that, except the gameplay won't be a lightsaber based, it'll be more blaster based, because it kind of like more like the Battlefront 2 gameplay. This is this is a personal choice. Bethesda says, yeah, we did like swords and stuff in Skyrim, but we really like all the laser weapons in Fallout, and laser weapons in Fallout are basically the same as blasters in Star Wars, so we just figured, hey, we may as well just port them over into this game. So they're probably going to be very similar if you've played Fallout 4, or 76, or Fallout 3. Those are pretty much the only Fallout games they've made that have had laser weapons. So yeah, very exciting. It's really interesting, because they say there will be some RPG elements in this game. They wanted to keep that, it's Bethesda, they make role-playing games and whatnot. However, the character creation is going to be fairly limited. You won't be able to customize your character's face or anything, which has been a staple in Bethesda games, so they said they're disappointed about that, but there is an important reason, which we'll get to later, about why that is. So, also they say there's going to kind of be an open world, which is another really big important thing at Bethesda. They make open world games, and this game is going to have a very small open world, but you'll still be able to go around. It's kind of like one city you can wander around, which is still very exciting to see that, but it's still a bit different from like a Skyrim where you have like a big mountain and stuff, so whatever. Anyway, let's get into the actual story. Now, this isn't officially canon yet. They still have to like run it through Lucasfilm and be like, okay, this can be canon. So for now, it's kind of like, in like the maybe canon area, where it like could be canon, but maybe not. So the thing is, the part I'm most excited for is that the main character that we'll be playing as is a stormtrooper. I know, guys, I'm super excited about this. Like, we finally get a Star Wars game where I get to play as a stormtrooper. Like, there really aren't that many other options out there. So I'm really excited about that decision. You get to choose your character's name, which is cool, so I can name myself IARESMART in the game. And also they said the main appeal for character customization, because you can't customize your character's face, it's going to be under a stormtrooper helmet, so they just figured we'll just do away with that. However, you will get to choose your character's gender, right? It won't have very much of an effect because, it's stormtrooper armor, you can't tell the difference that much. However, they did say you will get to pick from, how many? 700 genders. Really? Wow. So yeah, there's 700 genders to choose from in the game. I don't know what they all are. I guess there's male, female. How did they get to 700? Anyway, that's really exciting news. I'm sure a lot of people will be really excited about that. The main character isn't going to be voiced, probably for this reason. So you'll kind of have to, like, whenever there's dialogue, you'll have to essentially speak for yourself. So if you have a microphone, you can kind of talk into that. And like, that'll kind of, like, go into the game. So that's a really interesting idea that they're going with there. So, yeah. So, essentially what the story is going to be like in this game is once you create your character, you're going to start out, you're going to be a stormtrooper, and you're going to be invading this planet, trying to take it over, where all the Lop species is, these bunny people, where you're going to be trying to take over their planet. However, it's kind of unclear here. Something's going to go wrong, and you're going to get left behind after the Empire leaves on this planet with all these bunnies. So, yeah, that's interesting. Interesting plot there. So you're going to meet all sorts of members of this species, which again, I can't remember the name of. It's not really clear yet. We're going to call them the Lop species because they're rabbits. Lop? Maybe that's I don't know what that means, actually. I don't know, guys. I'm not too familiar with it. We'll figure it out when the game comes out. So, yeah. Interesting thing is, this game will actually take a bit of a detour from a shooter at the beginning of the game. In the middle of the game, it'll transition into being a dating simulator, which is really interesting. We've never had a Star Wars dating simulator. So you'll actually be able to date various members of this bunny species. And it's interesting that they said this, right? They said you'd be able to go on dates, give gifts, and, make love, and all sorts of other things that you get to do with these characters in this game. So that's a very interesting decision that they decided to go with, Like, really, like a dating simulator. Like, they'd never tried that before. No one's ever, been brave enough to do that for a Star Wars game. So it's really cool to see them doing that. Yeah, Lucasfilm actually said something when they made the deal. They said, we wanted to appeal to a new audience, the furries. So yeah, that's really interesting that they're kind of trying to get a new audience into Star Wars, which is pretty cool. Say what you will about the furry audience, but hey, more Star Wars fans. That's got to be a good thing, right? Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great to have new fans of Star Wars fans. I'm sure they'll be wonderful people, and they won't argue with any of the other Star Wars fans. Anyway, so yeah, that's interesting. Another quote from Todd Howard here. He says, "I love furries. I am a furry." Todd Howard. Yeah, that's cool. So anyway, they also said probably a bit more of a sad decision. They're going to be including microtransactions in this game, which really sucks. A lot of just video game fans really don't like microtransactions. But they said the reason for this is that, once you just like start dating these various characters in the game, there's only a certain point you can get to before you have to start paying with microtransactions. Because it's like, you can get up to like, hand holding, but you want to get any further than that, you got to start paying with some microtransactions. Which I kind of get that they need to, monetize the game long term. But again, it's just kind of like, it's a double-edged sword. It's just kind of annoying if that makes sense. So anyway, there is that, and they also said that they are planning on adding multiplayer. However, that's probably going to be after release. Once they finish the whole game and it comes out, then they're going to add multiplayer and, fix all the bugs and add in actual features after the game releases, because that's how games get released nowadays. They don't actually release the game on its release date. They release the game after years and years of updates, and like, okay, now the game's complete. So yeah, things like multiplayer will be coming much, much later, but you will be able to, I believe they said you can like fight other players and like the shooter mechanics, but you can also date other players. So, you have that duality there, which is very fun. So anyway, yeah, that's all the details we got revealed on this new Star Wars game. I hope you guys are excited as I am. It's really interesting. A furry Star Wars game, What an interesting idea. Being made by Bethesda, of all people. That's so exciting. I love Bethesda games, so it's so cool that we finally get like a Bethesda Star Wars game, a proper Star Wars game. That's so cool. They got elements of Fallout and Skyrim and furry dating simulators. It's gonna be good. I think we got to give it time. We'll have to see when it comes out for certain. But anyway, yeah, that's all the information that I had for you. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you're as excited for this game as I am. And if you couldn't figure out this is an April Fool's Day video, I feel very sorry for you. Anyway, bye.